Someone offered me a job for 65,000 a year for 20 years. I said no. Going into a meeting where I was already making close to $150,000 a year, doing odd jobs and stuff, walk into a meeting and someone is going to make me an offer where I could work for them for 65,000 a year. And this gentleman named Chip was saying, "Hey, for the rest of your life, you could have a good life making this money working for me." I already knew I was going to say no once he gave me that number. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be mentored by someone in real estate to have no cap. Why would I be walking into a room, negotiate my salary down, and be static for about 20 years? The standards I had for myself, if I was going to move on from my odd jobs I was working, doing pretty well at it, I had pretty high standards for myself. And so that goes to you when people are negotiating, right? When you get that negotiation late at night, at 11 o'clock at night, you get that negotiation, those terms, you're going to say no because you have standards for yourself. You have a fixed amount for yourself. So it's a decision that you already made and stand to it. By the end of this, you'll have one standard installed. Now tell you what mine cost me. And this is all about motivation. It's about a lot of my experiences and how they pushed me to be where I am today. One of the things that I did when I was younger, and I think I was like in sixth grade, their kids were stayed after school. And one kid had an issue, and I guess that kid was me at the end of the day. That's why I'm telling the story. And had a curvature of the spine, and it was like a lateral curvature called scoliosis. And I didn't know at the time. So my parents got me a weight set, said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to not do a surgery. We're just going to have Craig do weights." The doctor said if he lifts, the muscles get strong, we'll straighten them out. So every day, 3 to 4 days a week, I'd lift weights. Now, granted, it was just kind of bench press and biceps, but I did that every day, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. And before you know it, I became one of the strongest kids around town. I was bench pressing over 300 pounds towards the end of my freshman, sort of my sophomore year in high school. And do you think I did that just by a fluke or it was genetic? That was every day I was training and showing up. Hey, I need to work out to make sure that my body stays strong. And that's like anything else in life. It just doesn't happen by a snap of the fingers. It's by repetition and it's grinding again and again. So I had standards for myself. I'd go hang out with my friends, but nope, had to hit the weights. Always hitting the weights. Had to hit the weights first. After school, hit the weights, go with the friends. Every other day I was doing it. Maybe I did it every day. I did a lot. And I did it not just 1 month, not 6 months, not 1 year. I did it perpetually. And here I am today, 53 years old, and I'm still training 6 to 7 days a week. Kind of ingrains in your head to take care of yourself. But for me, it was more than just getting in shape and looking good. I had to do it so I could stand up and walk and function like a normal human being. So I tell you that because those are the standards I had for myself, getting that repetition again and again. And I apply that to business. I apply that to my relationship. I apply that to my family. I apply that to my kids, and what they do. And it's a big thing of having standards in every part of your life. And this is what makes people exceptional at the end of the day. You have a lot of people here. You have, in today's world, Elon Musk is in the news. He just took SpaceX public. He's got really high standards for himself, really high expectations. Now, if you're a small business owner, you're trying to scale your business. Do you think you're going to be able to scale your business without having high standards? When you're interviewing someone, make sure it's the right fit for a company. Well, this is the only person we could hire. You need to have those standards in place. You need to have those expectations in place for yourself. And then just learn, just do it again and again and again. Don't stop. You'll figure it out. Because really at the end of the day, when a business is, people say, hey, businesses come and go. You make money, you move on to the next. But they really come down to you, your willpower, the expectations you have for yourself to really work things out. It comes down to you, or it comes back to me on these things. And, it's just very, very, very tough on myself having these high standards so I could accomplish things. And, you kind of look at this. What wins at the end, I believe, is like the repetition, it's the iteration. You're going again and again and again. Of course, there's a lot of things else. It's not this simple, right? You have to have a good product. You always hear people with the bad luck. Oh, woe is me. What happened? Usually the person gave up. They didn't figure it out in time. So you got to keep going and going again till you figure it out and developing those relationships. And that's part of the game. So I have this thing where I go, CRMs, just your phone, whatever it is. And right now I'm trying to use AI, right? We're learning AI. And I go out and I look at my relationships. I need to redefine my relationships, recalibrate my relationships to get to my goal. So I need to surround myself with other business owners, right? Sharpen myself, right? Iron sharpens iron here. Go out and find other business owners who are trying to get to the other side. Granted, 5 to 50 million is great. For me, it's gone from about 100 million to 1 billion. Those are the guys I kind of want to learn from because I really want to take my company to the next level, get to that $1 billion range. 5 to 50 million, I've been there, put systems in place. Those are the guys who I'm attracted to, love to have conversations with. And sometimes it oscillates on markets. At the end of the day, markets go up, markets go down. How do you recalibrate yourself too? Revenue streams and customers come, they go, and the customers' behaviors might change. Maybe they're not spending as much money, or you have to, instead of like thinking doing many customers, maybe you're honing in on the customers who you could spend more money today. It's a different market, right? So the different market, you may have to change things up at the end of the day. I have some relative ideas what could work in this market. And again, what are you building at the end of the day? Is it short-term or long-term? A lot of variables there. But again, having those standards in place for yourself is very, very important thing to do. And it comes back to yourself, always having those standards in place. So again, a lot of this is all about having these expectations for yourself, having not just the motivation, because it's more than motivation. You really have to want it, right? You have to be motivated, but understanding that it's repetition. It's like being relentless. And there's two words. I like relentless. It's a good word. For me, it's going again and again and again and again and again, iterating, because everything's going to come at you at the end of the day. And it's having these expectations to yourself to get up the next day and try again and try again and try again. And you'll get there, right? That's what we're talking about. Having these standards in place, right? Having for yourself. Granted, there's a lot of things going on with... I really do believe that, standards and having those standards and in place is the way to get to the other side of the Sahara. It's the way to scale your company. And I have a lot of stories about that in life. I've gone through challenges in life with businesses. I've gone through down cycles. After the Great Recession, no idea what to do. I had a great brokerage. I was doing investments. Hands were a little bit everywhere. Things are flying. Things are hot. And then, boom, overnight, things stop. The easy money's gone. Getting this $20,000 fee here or getting this commission coming here. For me, most people were on 1099. They couldn't do any sales. So then my whole sales staff just kind of left because they weren't doing any sales. Sales weren't going on. I had a means where I could get by, hone that in, and I was getting chugging along. But I don't want to chug along. I have high expectations for myself. Lo and behold, I had an old employee come in and mention something about buying distressed assets. I was like, damn, that's a good idea. So I leaned into it and we did it and iterated and got it, eventually got it right. We bought a bunch of distressed assets. And that was just me showing up each day, just understanding I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get myself out of this rut, this hole. Yeah, I was just getting by, I had some cash flow going on, but how I'm going to rebuild. And I rebuilt it. And I rebuilt it from scratch, my whole business. Now I'm flipping property, buying things at foreclosure sales, buying things at foreclosure sales, trustee sales, doing short sales, negotiating cash for keys back in the day and doing that stuff. And I was like, wow, this is really good. These flipping the properties, doing this. And then along the way, I started dabbling and got a couple apartments. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. I owned some apartments, got them really discounted, refinanced my money out, and kept collecting that cash flow. I like that. And that was kind of the genesis of me getting to apartments. So I went from this great brokerage syndication business, doing stuff more in the construction world, land entitlement world, and then boom, kind of what happened. Whole world flipped upside down. I had high expectations. I wanted not just to get by. I wanted to take myself to the next level, and this is what happened. And here I am today. Now today, I'm going around and looking at stuff, and okay, what's going on? I did some data and doing some research on companies. I'm trying to hire people. So let me go look at my competition. I'm like, oh, geez, there are not as many competitors in my backyard as I thought. And I looked at it. There's one firm that bought about 4,000 units since 2021. That in the next one, I was like, geez, I think we're like number 2 on the list. I didn't know we were that large of company. And that was kind of like perked me up a little bit. But honestly, it kind of saddened me because I was like, man, there's not going to be a lot of talent out here for what I'm looking for. Because I've had these high standards when I hire. I want to hire people with like experience. Great, they have a great attitude. They think they want to use AI. They're hustlers. They want to make money in this market. Those are my standards, and that's what I want. And I looked at that. I'm like, oh, geez, my pool of people to choose from is very small right now. I'm like, oh. And this happened within the last 24 hours. So I'm now hold myself these high standards. How I'm going to get A players into my office to take advantage of this time, period of time, because I think it's a really good period of time to be expanding the business. And looking nationally for people is one thing, but this is something for me since I'm using AI and I have there's a lot with the AI. I need a couple of people around me to really train the models here. It has to be in the office. So I'm figuring it out, right? Because I have high expectations myself. Just make me a little turn here and just kind of to figure out how to do it at the end of the day. And I'm always talking about these experiences I had. I've had tons of experiences in life, like a ton of them in life. And it's like, how do you compete with a Goliath of the world? All these companies are sticking millions, billions, trillions of dollars into the technology. And everyone has an idea. Everyone's kind of small. I'm digging into data again, guys. I'm digging into data. Okay, well, let's look at all these businesses out there. Let's all the people who are working as employees, what they want in life. I'm like kind of digging into it a lot and hard. I'm like, wow, this is a lot. So as I'm integrating AI across everything, I have these high expectations. I want these things to work. I want them to be autonomous. I want them to make my employees better. And I have these expectations, and that's what I want. And I have my team doing it, and I will be recruiting more people, more engineers to build out what I want, because I have these high expectations of what I want my AI to be. I want to problem solve. I don't want to have any marketing people. I want the AI to handle all the marketing. I don't want any back office. I hate sitting down and talking to accountants and getting all this information. I just want to read it. I just want to read it. Give me a sheet. Give me a graph. What's our numbers looking like? Give me the stuff that I need to be aware of. Give me the trends are going on. Give me some data here. But I want you to extrapolate some of that information. So right now, I want the AI to say, hey, we're on track here. Here's a positive thing. Here's something you didn't see. But just give me that transparency. Give me that report. And then each and every day, I want it to notify me if something is off course. Numbers don't lie. I believe everything's like there's so many data fields out there, back office stuff, compliance stuff, counting, bookkeeping, chart of accounts, all that stuff. That's all AI driven. Look, so much is coming at us so fast. And it's a race. It's a race. Hey, am I going to create this as a business? Am I going to rent that from another business? Am I going to build a platform? Am I just going to give up? What am I going to do in 5 years as a business owner? What are you going to do? I have high expectations for myself. I'm going to really build out my platform. And my expectations are all those positions that we had in the past, I could bring in someone. Well, I have people, but what I'm trying to say is all the bookkeeping, all the numbers, all the transparency. Yeah, someone's still going to run that, but those reports are going to be live, real time feed. So the decision makers, the stakeholders in there have that information and they make decisions. And you don't know how powerful that is, but like, hey, if you want to put resources here but not here, how does this affect this? Or hey, what market is good for us to buy an asset? Or maybe we're asset agnostic right now, because I'm looking at this. It's like, hey, we're in this to make money, right? Maybe I'm going out and buying stuff, right? I want to buy stuff in markets. Let's just talk about real estate. I want to buy stuff in markets. I want to buy it at a price where I can refinance out and keep it myself, right? I want to keep it, maybe have LPs, but what can I keep for long-term holds? Okay, what can I do for quick cash in my company? What can I do for subscription type of residual reoccurring revenue? What are the shortest paths to do it? Hey, let me talk to my AI. Here's my company. Here's what I'm doing. What do you see? What patterns can I do? Maybe a little bit of both. You always want to do a little bit of both if you could do that. And have that AI as kind of a tool that's always learning, it's always thinking and seeing things. Just feed it. Just feed it with just all the data you have. Because look at this at the end of the day. A lot of this stuff is data driven. And the big thing is you look at let's look at like in the US, like every single parcel of land has an APN number again, has an AP number because you could pull that, right? So they probably have taxes, right? Taxes are recorded, how much they're all pulled the taxes. You could pull the debts on it, right? You could pull who owns it. You could pull what it got traded for. You could probably pull the zoning. You could probably figure out the permits for each kind of county or city. It gets really granular in certain levels. There's so much data out there. It's like this is going to be traded in real time. It's not like, hey, let me go down this city, let me pull those records, let me analyze this, let me walk the comps. Even though people have failed doing this, and I think Zillow was one that really failed in trying to buy stuff and flip it on their own because the data and AI that they built didn't factor in certain things. And maybe it wasn't the AI. Maybe it was the people who were in charge of the AI. Have you thought about that? Zillow, hip, young company at that point in time, VC backed. Venture capitalists, were they real estate guys? Did they find a real estate guy with 23 years of experience that was given their IP about this? Hey, this neighborhood and this neighborhood, there's differences between neighborhoods. This side of the road versus this side of the road. There's a bush here, a shrub here, a school district here. Well, someone with experience knows how to prompt it. To me, kind of like the logic, well, the AI's fault. Well, someone was kind of training it. Someone kind of made a mistake there who was in charge. They got to own it, right? I always say, own your shit, Zillow. Who'd you put in charge of that? Did you have a high-level guy who kind of bought a bunch of young people who've never done it before? Are they going to think those angles? Did you bring an older person in who has done it before, who's like, okay, here's a guy who flipped 1,000 homes. Maybe he should be programming your system, not the fresh grad who's got the analyst degrees and all that stuff. He hasn't done it before. He doesn't know those little nuances. Largest home on the block, smallest home on the block, busy street, cul-de-sac, all these things. View, no view, right? Pool, no pool. Debatable about pools. Some cases I like pools, some cases I didn't like pools. Same thing, multifamily. You really haven't done this. Multifamily. They're not multifamily. This is single family. Multifamily. Same thing. What's going on there? Great. Foreclosed on. I got to renegotiate the debt. Yada, yada, yada. Let's look at that. The neighborhoods you're buying in, these Class C neighborhoods. Maybe they're B neighborhoods. Maybe they're A neighborhoods. What's the population growth? What's the ingress and egress? Maybe there's more. Are people moving the area? You got major corporations moving in, resettling. Hey, this is what I believe the job growth is. This is what I believe the GDP is. Maybe there's a base coming in. I know you could pull that information to look at military bases being built there. They need housing. Is it going to be housing on the base? Or going to be off the base housing? What is it? What's the demographic in the areas? What else? What other amenities those areas have? There's so many data points out there that people like recite this stuff. But this, all you have to do is put all those fields in there and then train the AI. And so it's going to be commoditized. So if you're in the field, right? If you're in the field today, I don't know. I just, you have a short window to figure this out, because if everyone's looking at the same information, I want to buy this type of property. Well, there's 1,000 other people doing the same thing. So it's going to be bidded up. So that's where I think you buy now, right? Really buy now if you can. Buy and just sit on it. Again, if you buy with like a fund and those fund people want their money back in 5 or 10 years, or they want some type of dividend and maybe it's not giving a dividend out because there's all these moving parts there. That's a whole another topic to talk about. Then you're going to have to figure out, right? You're going to have to figure out how to get it. If you get it low enough, refinance it out. And then if you have cash flow, pay it down, hold it. I'm telling you, hold as much as you can today. Things will change, be commoditized, yeah? But then, prices will go up and down and fluctuate, kind of like the stock market. But you hold it, just like the stock market. It's a holding the stock. Maybe it's going to be a stock at the end of the day. Everyone keeps talking about tokenizing real estate. Who does that benefit? I mean, securities, right? A security gets traded, intrinsic value goes up and down. Maybe we're leading to every piece of real estate is going to act just like a stock. Possibly could happen. I could see it happening. I could see that real time math happening with calculations. It can't be done by a human. It's got to be done by a computer. Could probably do it. I don't know. So I don't know. There's a natural disaster that happens, which causes something to land in that area, and AI could figure it out. It will if we keep shoving the data at it. So if you can, like I said, you got a window, 18-month window to buy as much as you can and just hold. And then when that happens, that's great. I'm not sure what's going to happen with where you're going to put your money and stuff at the end of the day. Also, I know these regular jobs that people keep talking about at the end of the day. Hey, let me go work this firm because it's prestigious, and then I have the ability to make money and go up the food chain and stay there for 20 years. That's gone, right? I know people want to go work for Google and Amazon, get in and get that learning in. That's good, but what's your goal at the end of the day? What's your why? Why do you want to do it? So you got to ask yourself, well, if you're in it for the money, you're in it for the money, right? So if you're in it for the money, there's a lot of options if you're in it for money. I think being in it for money is fine at the end of the day. It's okay being in things for the money. But again, what's the why? Because do you want to leave with a specific skill? Because AI is coming aboard. A lot of these skills you no longer need. So if you're in it for the money, what is that money? And then you find the best path for you. If you have a skill set and you can match it to either a company or yourself, and that's the best possible path for you to get your 100, 200, 300, 400,000 a year. Go for it, right? At the end of the day, I mean, right now I have probably gonna be fulfilled. I created like 3 or 4 positions that don't really have caps right now because I am going to support them with AI agents. And this is big because it's like me and then these people, a couple of them I have already, and then the agents. And we'll hire more people, but it's uncapped. I mean, they could make $1 million annually pretty soon. It's the way I designed it right now. We have some opportunities here. And then we're going to have our support staff, of course. We're having a lot of technology coming in. And if you're in it, yeah, you're going to have to work hard. What I say is not just work hard, but the opportunities today. So for me, you have to have a skill set and go in. It's like, oh, I'm going to go in and just get a job and collect a paycheck. No, I want someone who is going to be kind of like me, a rock and roller, going to go in, and I am going to get that shit done because it's uncapped. And today it's the opportunity. And so not someone's like, hey, I'm going to take 2, 3, 10 years, get this skill. No, it's like, okay, Craig, you got AI. We got all this. You got all this experience. How do I make money? Well, here's how you make money. So we really got something set up special for everyone. So I'm pretty excited about it. But again, you're out there in the job market looking around and go work for Amazon, Google, Am I going to make $1 million, right? How long? 10, 20, 30? Unattainable. Going to make 100,000. 10, 20, 5 years? I don't know. 200, 300, 400, 500? There's a lot of things out there. I'm a small business owner. I'm going to create a business. Well, what's faster? Create a small business, go work for someone, right? Maybe I want to get in sales. That's good. Maybe I want to run a business. Well, what do you want at the end of the day? If you're going to run a business, what are you going to provide? What skills do you have that someone's going to buy a product from you with the business? It's going to be tough. I'm telling you, it's going to be tough if you're not putting AI in your infrastructure. I know there's a lot of like small jobs. People are trying to be these AI integrators. Watch out, because a lot of these guys don't really work. They don't know the intricacies as much. It's moving fast. It's moving really fast. We're getting smarter. Us business owners getting smarter. CEOs are getting smarter. We know what questions to ask. We're talking about ROI. We're looking at the efficiencies. I don't think we're gun shy to fire people. I want to kind of create another narrative here. It's like we're looking for the right people. And we know it's going to take people to run this stuff. And we know people have this, they're not utilizing it enough. And so if you have that in your culture, maybe they're moving people out because, hey, this role is not going to be here because AI is changing that around. And another role is going to pop up and you might not know what it is, but I can't take this person and train them into this future role. So it's easier for me just to, hey, let me just kind of downsize, build, and then bring people in, which I think that's more my interpretation of what's going on than taking people. You're building with AI and you have all these people. It just doesn't seem to be efficient. And so you're just paying salaries and you don't know what they're really going to do quite yet. I think everyone's understand that you're going to need people, but you're not exactly like how they're going to do things at the end of the day. So going back to standards here. So it's like standards and expectations of yourself, that grind each and every day, getting 1% better, all these take words, the experiences, right? Experiences, overcoming adversity, overcoming things, right? Let's start with like when you grow big. My company grew big so fast. I didn't know we're a digital company overnight. Nuts, crazy. And it's like everything I did was in a glass bowl. A word, raised a voice, said something. It was crazy. It was nuts. Then I had working from home and a pandemic on top of that, differences of opinions. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. And then me kind of developing myself. And it's like, hey, changing. I was like, okay, I'm working from home a lot more. I had great thing. I am very, very privileged to this. I did have my last daughter in 2020, February 2nd, 2020. And I had the privilege of working from home and seeing her develop, seeing her grow. I ended up going down to the office probably 2 days a week, 3 days a week. Not too much in after the first 3 months. But being able to be around her was fantastic. So I had this utter gift from God to be with my daughter during that time period. And then I set up like my home office beforehand because I was having my daughter. I knew my wife needed some help. It's going to be our third child. So pandemic hit, my home office was all set up. So I was like, oh, already tested it out. So I was good to go. I wasn't reacting. And everyone was. I had a month of training, right? Of putting that sucker together. And so it was a pretty easy transition. I ended up going down, but it was just kind of a juggling act. Some of us wanted to be there. Some of us didn't want to go there. We didn't know what's going on in the world. Difference of opinions, ages. I don't know. To me, it wasn't more different political ideology. It was more age. I would say 40 and above wanted to be in the office. 40 and below didn't want to be in the office. A couple of people who were in between ages, they were kind of in between, it seemed like. And it was what it was. And then there was a lot of money thrown into the market. And so everyone's trying this work from home stuff and a lot of Zoom meetings and stuff, which is great. I mean, we got a lot of customers. And one of the things that, looking back and looking at the data, where customers came from in our place was looking at it and seeing these narratives that were driven through algorithms online in our space. And it was crazy because today it's a lot different. And so they're driving this like, hey, this is what it is. But it was all new. People didn't really know, and everyone's from home pressing buttons and seeing how it is. And I found that fascinating, how like a whole industry was kind of driven, the public opinion and was kind of driving the industry, and the narrative of what it was versus actually what it is was two different things. Then you had to drill down deeper and like, oh, who wrote the articles? What was their experience? What were the expectations? Look at that, and a lot of these media companies, marketers, uh, placements, paid media placements, bloggers, newsletters, right? They're hitting off. They're making all this money because people are paying for ads and this stuff. They were kind of writing things in a manner for, they wanted customers coming back, so they had to convert their customers, and they're saying this thing's the greatest thing in the world, not really defining what it is. And our industry started having a lot of people come aboard who really didn't know what it was. And as today, it's like a lot of these industries kind of fell apart in being around and dealing with the data we have and having these conversations and like, hey, this is how it is. This is how it's been with market cycles. This is how it works, and shocked a little bit about how people didn't really understand it. And I'm like, a lot of this is because the narrative out there was different than the actuality of what it is. And of course, you're going to always talk about the positive things and not the downsides. No one reads the disclaimers. But investing overall has some risk. Definitely in alternative investments. Investing in real estate has risk. Investing in companies have risk. Investing in startups have risk. Investing in the stock market has risk at the end of the day. And everyone jumped in. And it's just fascinating. Just wanted to share that because it's just fascinating. The data, what it provided at the end of the day, and having such a large amount of data to read it, I was like, oh. So that kind of spun an idea for me for what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I've been really delivering a lot of this. And for me, at the end of the day, investing, I think, should be 100% democratized, meaning that regardless of who you are or your socioeconomic background, you should be not empowered to invest in anything. And this is the big and. You really need financial education. The regulators come in, they want to educate you. Look, we had the Great Depression. Out of that, 1933, you had the Securities Act, right, put in place to give parameters to protect people that lost a lot of money due to speculation. Every market cycle, everyone speculates, everyone loses money. This is history. We need to teach that maybe in school, history, financial history, how this work with market cycles. You see the winners and the losers, and it's always like the winners are always the banks for some reason. At the end of the day, they always win. Too big to fail, right? And we just need to educate people more about this stuff. It's education. Not a lot of money in education. No, everyone's afraid to say the wrong thing because the regulations. Go see a financial advisor. They're stuck in buckets too. At the end of the day, they want to be safe. They're afraid to say things wrong way. We got to kind of look at this, and the information's out there, guys. It's out there. You just got to kind of read it. And we just got to kind of come to grips with, hey, people are going to make mistakes because we're human beings at the end of the day. And some of us are going to get it right, and some of us are going to get it wrong. Some of us might like some investments, some might not. It's just how it is. And, we're going to have to just kind of figure that out, right? At the end of the day, not just figure it out, but I don't know if it's ever going to be figured out because there's a lot of political agendas that go on with this. A lot of people are going to, political offices. The parties kind of sway back and forth of what they want. Some like deregulation, some like increased regulation. So it kind of goes with the wind. We'll see what's with it at the end of the day. But I just want to share this with my opinion of how this is. At the end of the day, again, bring it back to myself and the stories and stuff I share at the end of the day. It was just a quite interesting time period to see this agenda out there. And so that's where we're going to have, and I really say this because this was pre-AI. It's going to be worse with AI. So we're going to have to fact check a lot of this stuff. And if we were able to fool that many people with this false agenda and people doing things that they really didn't know what they were doing within the 2020s, what's going to happen with AI? So right now, that's where I say you got to be contrarian. So everyone's using AI for all this stuff. You got to get out there. You got to introduce yourself. You got to be human. You guys share yourself. So I'm doing this, more doing this, so you could kind of get to know me as a person. You could talk to me, right? If you want to get to know me or invest in my businesses at the end of the day, Craig's a real person. So I got to move beyond AI for that. And then use AI to run the business. So it's two things. How do you incorporate them both together, right? And then just being honest and transparent with people how things are. I have high expectations for myself, for my people. If you know me, I'm a grinder. I want the best for everyone who is a customer of ours. And at the same time, a shareholder of ours. I want all that to be really driving value to them at the end of the way. I say value because it's not just profits. It's value. Make your company value at the end of the day. You have all these constituents you have to serve at the end of the day. It's not the easiest thing to do, but if you do come and work with me and work with me, it's going to be a grind because I'm going to battle. I'm going to battle for all the stakeholders here. There's a lot of stakeholders. It's not for everybody at the end of the day. Hey, it's not just about getting a paycheck. It's not about getting that commission. It's about, hey, are we adding value to what we're doing? Are we growing? Did we learn? We had a win the other day. I was like, great, this is a win. Now what, right? It's like, now what? Everyone's like high five, and I'm like, ain't that big of a deal. We gotta build. We're still building something, guys. It's like, I don't care about the income. I care about the value we're building. We haven't built the value yet. Stop celebrating. It's like, we're not there to celebrate. And then it's kind of who you hire. It's like, am I hiring the right guys? They got that big check. They made that money. They're feeling great. But did you build that yet? No. Not a lot of people understand that, right? It's a false sense. You want them to be happy somewhat, right? There's a happy median here. But what did you actually build? What did you actually accomplish? That's a higher level of thinking. It's a higher intellect. And you have been in my chair before. Maybe you haven't. But that's what you're thinking about. It's like, great. Okay, now what's next? And I'm looking at that. I'm like, God, this looks awesome. But I'm like, what's next? What am I doing next? That's not a win. This is a win. We got to do this, right? And not a lot of people understand that. Again, going back to the data I pulled today, I'm like, okay, that's win. I could talk about all that stuff. It's way past tense for me. It's like, okay, I don't care that that our company is the second largest one in one aspect of us in Southern California, right? I was like, that's whatever. That's past. I'm on this new project. It's an even playing field. And this is where I'm racing for. This is what I'm striving for. These are the expectations I have. That's the standards I have for organization. Is our technology at the level it needs to be? And even when it gets there, I'm going to be like, okay, what's next? What else? Because in 3 years, my current model could be dead. So I could go, okay, what's going to be in 5 years? What's going to be in 10 years? There's no one to whine to. There's no one go, hey, what's next? I just got here. What do we plan to do? That's up to you at the end of the day. You got to figure it out, right? So how are you going to figure that out? Who's going to tell you? There's no one to go to, right? It's like, again, I always talk about, you're in that car late at night. Who are you going to share it with? You can't go to your wife. You have business partners. Well, if you're the leader of the organization, there's a reason you're the leader, right? There's usually one person who really leads the organization. There's a lot of people that help the organization. Don't get me on this subject. But everyone has tens of ignore-gays, tons of people to help them. They're relatively replaceable in some cases. It's always good to have good people. But really, there's one person driving at the end of the day. And he doesn't have someone to call up in the middle of the night to ask, how do I get myself out of this? If you're a small business owner, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go hire a coach. Let me tell you about some of these coaches. Those are false prophets. Watch out for them. Watch out for them. That's coaches, forget about. Consultants, that's a better word, consultants. What have you done? What are you paying for? I'm in, the other day, I am in this club. We have this club in our building. I don't know. I went when I was younger. Let me go, get out of the office, go up. It's on 34th floor, right? So I go up there and got my laptop. I'm listening there. No, first of all, no one's in the club. I'm like, why did I rejoin this club? And then I'm looking at the food, and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I'm a health guy. I was like, I wanted some food. There's like no food there. So I was like, okay. It was like traditional food. I'm like, okay. So 2 knocks. And I see this consultant wearing a shirt with this name brand, helping this older woman out with some marketing stuff that was like 20 years ago, and I'm sitting there, oh God, what's going on here, right? What is going on? And I'm like, it's like I wanted to say something, I didn't say something at the end of the day, yeah, and I'm just like, man, she just got fed a lot of bull crap from this guy that's not going to help her business out. And I'm like, and that's just me. And then I'm there, and some other guys trying to sell me services. I'm like, I'm out of this place. And they have a dress code too, right? And they have a dress code. And my buddy owns a business, and he has like a whole floor in the building. And he wears like a hoodie and t-shirt, and he's not allowed in. I'm like, okay, the guys who own the businesses just we dress how we like to dress. But sometimes there's dress codes for the people who want our business. So this didn't make sense to me. But my point I'm trying to make is these people getting fed the wrong information, and it's a thing. And it's tough. It's tough being a small business owner. The other day too, I have a friend of mine who's getting involved in real estate, and he thinks he's the best thing ever. He's like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I'm like, okay. First year, you don't have you left the corporate world, you're in real estate. Okay, what's going on? Okay, I get it. He's like the world-renowned expert on flipping properties. I'm like, okay. It's like, by the way, it's like, this is what I see. He's like, and I'm like, okay, we'll see. I've been doing it for 30 years. I'm like, okay. And he's, oh, we're gonna be vertically integrated because we're gonna buy this type of business. I'm like, okay, these catch words being vertically integrated. Well, okay, if you have something producing you cash and you can make better decisions with your investments because you're not worried about the investments giving you the cash, that's a smart move. And don't worry about these vertical integration words right here. If you're going to do flipping homes, that you're dependent upon that income to provide for you in this economy, I don't think this is a smart thing. But if you have another way to create cash flow, and he could be selective where he could flip it or buy and hold it, that's smarter. So if you can do it, in this case, they have a mechanism. It's just like, don't tell me about vertical integration. Don't tell me you're going to try to buy a property management company, right? You're going to buy a property management company? Yeah, okay. And you just started in the business. Don't give me that stuff. Like it's just crazy. It's crazy how people think at the end of the day. They just toss things around like it's like, oh yeah, it's this simple to do, right? All right. In this economy, I am buying, man. I am buying stuff. I'm not gonna go buy a property management company today. I'm gonna buy as much discounted real estate as I can, right? And then once I have the real estate, then I'll fucking buy a property management company. But if I have zero real estate, why would I buy a property management company? Oh, I don't want that headache. But if I bought it and I have like 200, let's say 2,000 doors, and then I buy a company, and well, that's the biggest client right away. That makes sense, right? There's a certain way to do things at the end. That's more what I would do. I wouldn't inherit that as far. And trust me, I owned a loan servicing company, and you think regulation and compliance, right? That's a pain in the butt because that is just something you got to work two sides of the house. You got to collect the payments as a servicer. You got to do all your trust accounting, and then you got to pay off your lenders or your, where is that money going to? So in case I had a fund, I had individual investors, I had institutional investors. Everyone liked it look a certain way. That was tough. You gotta wait. Oh, okay, you gotta let checks come in. How are people making these payments? You gotta wait till the checks clear. Then it's gotta be processed. And you gotta process a different way. People are using lines of credit to do these things. They're not telling you. They're arguing. Well, this should have came in sooner. I'm just a servicer. I'm not supposed to call someone up and say, "Hey, pay on time." It's their right to do whatever they want, and you have your right to do whatever you want. That's why there's an agreement in place. So it's quite an experience. Service a lot of stuff. Service a lot of different properties. So smaller stuff, hundreds. And say 1,000. Did I get to close to 1,000? Yeah, 1,000 to 2,000 probably over the years. It was I don't know. It was just an experience. I did it. I liked it because I liked the fact because my vertical integration that time, catchword vertical integration, is I like to see how the money was flowing. So when these were a lot of bridge loans, got paid off, I knew when they were going to get paid off, and then I could recycle that money into another opportunity. So that's the integration I did, which made sense, right? I didn't just go buy a servicing company to make the fees. The fee, the income was pretty good off of that stuff. Compliance was horrendous, and the technology wasn't there at that point in time. But it was a good system. It worked out well for me. And that's and again, people talk about how you did. I scaled something that probably shouldn't have been scaled. I did it in a manner where I integrated it and had this going, and a certain part of the market worked beautifully. When a market kind of tilted a little bit and saw a slowdown, hey, I'm servicing stuff. I saw a slowdown because I had the data before somebody else. I'm like, hey, these guys are good, and this is happening here. So allowed me to pivot a little center as well and let me make adjustments. So again, back to data with everything. Again, expectations for yourself. What are you building? What the standards were this week is, again, I started out, was offered a job for $65,000. I was walking in there thinking this is going to be a career change. I knew what I wanted, said it politely, said no, walked out the door. So next time when you go into a negotiation, you know what you want out of it. So when someone comes to you, have standards for yourself. So once it's 11 o'clock at night and you get that offer, you know how to say no.